All right, Accelerated Algebra 2, 1-4, writing linear equations. This lesson is very, very similar to almost an entire chapter from Algebra 1. All right, there was a chapter that we did in Algebra 1 where it was very, very slow, I want to say is a good word for it, because we did this section where we found our slopes, and then we moved on to one type of problem, and then another type, and then another type of all about writing equations. Today, we're doing all those sections in this lesson, okay? Because it should be reviewed, right? Everybody good title? Yeah. So you have two different forms of lines. One we're going to hit really, really hard, and that's slope-intercept form. It's my favorite type. Hopefully remember that is y equals mx plus b, where m is my what? Nestor. Slope. B is my, what's the other one? Intercept. Which intercept? Y-intercept. Okay? So pay attention now. M is your slope. B is your y-intercept. That's where you cross the y-axis at. All right? And once we do these lessons, everybody asks me, well, what's x and y? Okay, and now that we're a little smarter in our mathematical ways, we can actually talk about it. X and y represent all of the different coordinates on a line. Okay? Or whenever we get to quadratics, they represent all the different points on that quadratic. Okay? They're always all the arbitrary points. Okay? The bottom text, I'm going to, well, it's there now, so I can't do anything about it now. But I'm going to sum it up in these two steps. Okay? All day today, we're going to basically be doing two steps. Step one, we're going to find our slope. Okay? Step one, you find your slope, whatever that takes. Sometimes it's given to you. Sometimes you got to do a little work to get it. All right, but step one, you're going to find your slope. And step two, you're going to find B. Find your y-intercept. And step three, rewrite. Those same three steps we're going to do all day. Find your slope, find B, rewrite it. All right, number one. Write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form with the following. Slope is 4/3. Excuse me. Passes through the point 0, 4. So step one, you find your slope. Work real hard at this one. There it is. All right. And then you're going to find your y-intercept. Now, I'm going to tell you how to find your y-intercept in any given case on this one, all right? The point they give you, they tell you it goes through the line you're trying to find. So that means that this can be an x and this is a y on that line. So once you have those two things, and you remember y equals mx plus b, you plug everything in, and you solve for b. All right, so y is 4, so 4 equals m, which is 4/3, x in this case is 0, plus b, and you solve for b. So we got 4/3 times 0, which gives you 0, 0 plus b, which gives you b, so 4 equals b. And then your last step, rewrite it with the slope and the y-intercept. So y equals 4/3 x plus 4. Yep. Yep. All your answers today are going to be y equals. Okay. All in slope-intercept form. All right. Now, if you notice that this coordinate here is 0, 4, if you draw an xy plane, you go left or right none, and you go up 4, it's right there, roughly drawn, which means it is on the y-intercept, right? See that? So that means you didn't even really need to rewrite or do this work here. Okay? But this is the work. If this is anything other than 0 for your x-coordinate, this is the work you got to do every time. Okay? This is the work. Questions on that? Very good. Okay, so the next type, I kind of just skip, like not skip, but like one example each type and then kind of move on, you know. All right, so write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line, that passes through the points 3, -5, -3, -1. Okay, so your first type was when you're given a slope and a point. This example you have what? You have 2 points. Okay, and your first thing you do is always find your slope, which is why we have slope formula now. All right, so go ahead like we did last lesson. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. That formula comes in handy a lot. So -1. If you start want to cutting into the minus the negatives and start going -1 plus 5, since you got a hang of it now, that's fine too. And then we go -3 minus 3. So we get 4 over -6, which reduces to -2/3. Good. Okay, and that is our slope. Okay. Once you get that, you're going to go y equals mx plus b. And then you're going to take that slope and a point. Which point? Whichever one you want. Okay? Because it doesn't matter, because they tell you that both points go through that line. And that's all that matters. As long as the line goes through that point, that's all you care about. So it doesn't matter which one of these 2 points you pick. As long as you put them in the right place and do the right algebra, you get the same answer. All right? So I'm going to pick 3, -5, just to keep signs somewhat tamed. So -5 equals, my slope is -2/3 times +3 over 1, and you're solving for b. Okay, this kind of goes back to what I said last week about fractions with the pretest. Remember that? These 3's canceling out, so that whole side just becomes -2. And add 2 to both sides. So b equals -3. And don't forget to rewrite it. Okay, rewrite it, use the slope, use the b. So y equals -2 thirds x minus 3. Which moves us on to parallel and perpendicular lines. Ta-da. All right. Parallel lines have the what? If two lines are parallel, they have to have the same slope. All right. If 2 lines are parallel, they have to have the same slope. If 2 lines are perpendicular, the relationship between their slopes is what? Very good, kiddos. Opposite reciprocals. That's the fancy pants words for it. The not so fancy words for it, flipped and switched. Right? Remember that? Flip fraction, switch signs. Okay? Technically, opposite reciprocals. Alright? So now, these problems are probably the ones where people get the most confused on because they don't fully understand what is being asked of them. Alright? Every one of these problems, you are finding the equation to a line. A new line. I want your line. Okay? Sometimes I give you a point on that line and a slope. Sometimes I give you 2 points on that line. But it's the same line. With these 2 types, you're going to get a line I give you, and then you're going to give me a different line. Okay, so now there's going to be 2 lines involved. What you want to make sure of is that the line you give me is either parallel or perpendicular, whichever one I'm asking for, to the line that I give you. But that's the only thing that you care about off of that line. So the only thing from my line you ever need is the slope. You need to know how to go about changing it to whether you're doing parallel or perpendicular, and you need to make sure you ignore the rest of it. Okay, rest of that line. So, here's what I'm talking about. Writing equation. Madison, what's up? Oh, sorry. Alright. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through the point 3, 7 and is parallel to the line with the equation y equals 3/4 x minus 5. That text will be there every time. Okay? That text will be there all the time. Important to know what the equation of the line that I give you is. This here. Okay? Important to know what you want your slope, or what this slope is. This line's slope is 3/4. Okay? That's the only thing that this line is relevant in the problem, is its slope. Okay? Anything else? Irrelevant. You don't care if this is like negative 5,000. Alright? Doesn't matter. It's not relevant to the problem. The only thing you want is 3/4. Now, do you want your line parallel or perpendicular to my line? Parallel. Which means the two slopes of the two lines have to be the same. So the slope you're going to use is also 3/4. And you're going to partner it up with the point 3, 7. Okay? I'm going to let you guys take over for now. Alright? Okay, well, let's set this problem up then. Alright? 7 is y, right? So 7 equals 3/4. 3 is x, right? Plus b. That's the setup, okay? What's 3/4 times 3 over 1? 9/4. Okay, I have a feeling that's where some of you get in 3 major boo-boo. I think you cross those 3's out and move the 4 up by magic. Subtracted 4 off of 7 and got 3. Alright, that's kind of what I think you did, so be careful with that. These 3's don't cancel. Alright? So that becomes 9/4. Now, I'm going to do this in black so we can all see it for sure. Okay, so we got 9/4 plus b. Now, here's what I was talking about earlier on with knowing fractions and understanding what you're going to eventually have to do and not being so dang reliant on your crutches known as calculators. Okay? Alright? Now, we're eventually going to have to subtract this over, yes?
Yeah.
Makes sense? Okay? We got to get this b by itself. We're going to have to subtract 9/4 over. Weirdest question I'm going to ask you in a while. How many fourths are there in 7? 28. Okay? There are 28 fourths in 7. So instead of writing 7 as just 7, I'm writing it as 28 fourths. Exactly. Alright? I do this all the time. Alright? Especially in this class. Reason being, when I go subtract 9/4 over now, all I got to do is do 28 minus 9. Which is 19. Leave it over.
You can get the same answer by doing it the other way, right?
Yeah, you're just taking it that one.
Like putting it in your calculator, you mean?
No.
Or
No, like doing 9/4 and that whole thing times 4, and then getting 28.
as long as
28 equals 9 plus 4b.
as long as you do it by b. That's right.
That's what I do.
Okay? Because you'll get it. You'll still get it over here because then this will end up when you subtract that 9 over,
Right.
it'll be 19 here, and then you'll divide by the 4.
That's
Yes. As long as, and that's a little more advanced. I don't, as long as you hit that b with that 4 that you multiply to get rid of it, that's fine. But you had to hit that b. Okay? David.
I did like, I guess the normal way. I just did 7 3/4 times 3, and I got the decimal 4.75.
Yeah. That's fine. The only thing you got to be careful with when you do decimals like that is if you get into thirds, where they don't round, and then sometimes, you know what I mean. Okay. Anybody else? All right, last thing, make sure you always rewrite it. And make sure you use your new slope, okay? This one, your slope didn't change, which is nice, so 3/4 x plus 19/4. Okay. This is what I was talking about where you might have fractional y-intercepts, which is okay. That'll happen. Write an equation, slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 5, -6, and is perpendicular to the line with the equation y equals -3/2 x plus 7. The slope of the line I give you is -3/2.
Yeah.
All right? You want a line that is
2/3.
perpendicular, which means you want the slope to be the opposite reciprocal of -3/2, which tenuous means it is
2/3.
2/3. Flip the fraction, switch the sign. From 3/2 to 2/3, from negative to positive. Okay. Yep. If it's perpendicular, you always flip the sign, flip the fraction, switch signs. You switch to negative. Yep. Now you couple this up with this point. Maybe make my 5 look like a 5 today. Been struggling with my 5s here today. Couple it with this point. Solve for B. Rewrite. So we take our y, which is -6, equals 2/3 times 5 plus B. -6. Oh, come on now. Can't write today at all, apparently. -6 equals 10/3 this time. Plus B. -6 is how many thirds? Technically -18, right?
Yeah.
All right, -18 thirds. Subtract 10 with that, that becomes -28 thirds. See how much easier that is than trying to make sure you have it formatted right in your calculator?
Oh, I got that right one.
Okay, I'm so proud, Wags. Okay.
Wait.
So-
Can you re-explain that again?
Yeah,
Just from the second last one down.
this here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to subtract the 10 thirds over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So -6 minus 10 thirds. You have to have common denominators. Since this is a whole number, you ask yourself, how many 3/3 are there in 6?
Can't you just times those two together?
You can, yes. That's what I was going to say. Think about it like pizzas, right? Imagine 6 pizzas cut into thirds. How many pieces do you have? 18. Same concept.
Right.
Okay, just without pizzas because we're juniors now.
I mean,
I still love love my pizza, right? Okay. So then you do -18 thirds minus 10 thirds. It's just like doing -18 minus 10, except you throw a thirds in there at the end. All right. Now rewrite it. Y equals. Good job, Dimitri. 2/3 x minus 28 thirds. All right. The slope that I give you, the slope you give me, when they're perpendicular, they will be different. Make sure you use the correct slope. All right. I'll see sometimes people do the entire problem correctly. Their answer, they put -3/2 here. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to take off points, but I have to. All right. So be careful with that. All right. It's being particular. Questions? Last one. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through the point 1, 3 and is perpendicular to the line that passes through the points -1, -5, and -7, -3. Go. All right, so anyways, here we go. Write an equation, slope-intercept form. Line that passes through 1, 3, perpendicular to the passes through -1, -5, -7, -3. Yeah. So you've passed through, the line that I give you is passing through these pairs of points. So now you have to get your slope from those pairs of points. So use your slope formula. -3 minus a -5, so +5, over -7 minus a -1, so +1, becoming 2 over -6, becoming -1/3. Okay. Now that's this line. That's the slope of the line that I give you. You want your line to be perpendicular to that, which means the slope you're going to use for your line is 3. Good.
Oh, so I didn't
I just
even have to write an equation for the first part.
No.
Oh, well,
No.
that's where I went wrong.
See, and that's what I'm saying. That's why this problem is it mixes two types together. So be careful about it.
I was trying to find the y equals
Of the
for that
first
problem
one,
and
that's
the second
yeah.
one. I
Only
just
thing
needed that.
that's all you need. Only thing you care about is the slope off the line that I give you. All right, David.
Why is it not negative here?
Because you got to switch the sign also.
Flip and switch.
Flip the fraction, switch the sign. Both things, all the time.
Every time.
Partner this up with that point.
Oh,
Shh.
Honor.
1, 3. Plug into slope-intercept form. So 3 equals 3 times 1 plus b. I don't know why. I think my pen's going crazy. So I put a comma with that 3. That was silly.
oh,
3 times 1 is 3. Subtract the 3 over. B equals 0. Don't forget to rewrite the equation of the line, which would be, in this case, y equals 3x. Page 31, 32, 1 through 9, and number 18. I'll say this also. Your first homework quiz, I don't know if I said this yesterday, first homework quiz is going to be sometime next week. Okay, it's looking like Thursday. I will let you know for sure when I know for sure. Probably Thursday this week. I'll let you know for sure which one it's going to be. So make sure you're keeping up with these homeworks. Make sure you're labeling them, what section they are, what page they are, because that's what I'll give you, so that way you can put them to my paper. Okay, so if you've been kind of slacking with these, start trying to get them caught up. I don't want to ruin your Labor Day weekend because you got to do 6 homework assignments for me.
Is this weekend Labor Day weekend?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.